There are names the world forgets, names buried under headlines, monuments, and speeches. But sometimes, history hides a single person who did the impossible. Someone who changed the world without asking for permission. Someone who fought evil not with armies, but with compassion. Someone whose courage had no audience, no applause, no guarantees of survival. This is not a story about war. This is a story about a woman who walked straight into hell and walked out carrying children in her arms. Her name was Irena Sendler. Warsaw, Poland, 1939. A quiet country, full of rhythm, language, and life. Then one morning, the sky tore open. The German army invaded. Tanks rolled through the streets. Bombs fell on churches, schools, and homes. And almost instantly, life changed forever. Within months, the Nazis created the Warsaw Ghetto, a walled prison trapping more than 400,000 Jewish men, women. Irena Sendler was not a soldier. She did not carry a gun, lead armies, or have power, wealth, or status. She was a social worker, the daughter of a compassionate doctor named Warsaw Sendler. When Irena was just 7, her father died after contracting typhus while treating Jewish patients that other doctors refused to help. Before he died, he told her something she never forgot. When you see a person drowning, you must jump in and save them, whether you can swim or not. That single sentence became the foundation of her life. So when the Nazis turned the city she loved into a graveyard, Irena did not look away. She did not hesitate. She did not wait for permission. She acted. Helping Jews in Nazi-occupied Poland wasn't just illegal. It was punishable by death. Not just your death, but the death of your family, your neighbors, anyone involved. There were no trials, no appeals, no mercy. And yet, Irena Sendler chose to act anyway. She joined a secret resistance organization called Jagota, the Council to Aid Jews. It was made up of nurses, priests, teachers, ordinary people. People who refused to accept that murder could be normal. Together, they formed one of the most daring rescue networks of the war. Their mission was clear and nearly impossible: save the children. To help anyone inside the ghetto, one needed a reason to be there. Irena found one: disease control. The Nazis feared outbreaks more than rebellion. The idea of typhus spreading outside the ghetto terrified them. So Irena became an inspector of public health. Every day, she put on a white medical coat, pinned on an official badge, and wore a mask. She walked right through the gates. The soldiers avoided her. Disease scared them. She used their fear as a shield. Inside the ghetto, she saw what most of the world refused to imagine: children with skin transparent from hunger, mothers with no milk left to give, silence that sounded like despair. She made a decision. If the children stayed here, they were going to die. She would get them out, one by one, no matter the cost. There was no single method, only creativity, desperation, and courage. Some children were carried out in ambulances, hidden under stretchers, disguised as patients. Some were smuggled in sacks, lumps of cloth that cried softly. Some were hidden in toolboxes, carried by sympathetic workers. Some were taken out in coffins because there was no other way. Some even escaped through a courthouse door that connected the ghetto to the outside world. And every single time, Irena knew one mistake meant death. Not just hers, theirs. Imagine this. You are a mother in the ghetto. Your child is 3 years old. You know what's coming. You've seen the smoke rising from the camps. You've heard the trains. And a stranger knocks on your door. She tells you, "Let me take your child. I can't tell you where. I can't tell you who will raise them. You may never see them again. But if your child stays here, they will die." This was not heroism. This was heartbreak. Mothers handed over their children with trembling arms, torn souls, and silent screams. Irena held these children tight and whispered, "You will live. I promise." And then she walked away quickly, before the pain destroyed her resolve. Saving a life was only half the mission. The Nazis didn't just want to kill people. They wanted to erase identity, culture, and memory. If the children survived the war but lost their names and their history, then the Nazis would still win. So Irena built a secret archive. Every child she rescued received two identities, their real name and their new Christian name, used for survival. She wrote both carefully on thin scraps of paper, placed each into small glass jars, and buried them under an old apple tree in a friend's garden. Jars of hope, hidden beneath the soil. If she survived, she would return them to their families. If she died, someone else would try. By 1943, the Gestapo was watching. Irena was arrested. They broke her legs. They shattered her feet. They beat her until her entire body was a map of pain. They asked for names. She gave them none. Not one child was betrayed. Not one rescuer was exposed. The Nazis sentenced her to death. But Jagota bribed a guard. He wrote her name on a list of those executed and whispered, "You are officially dead. Run." So Irena disappeared. She changed her name and hid in silence. But she did not stop working. Even with broken bones, she continued rescuing children. She never stopped. When the war ended, Warsaw was a shell, a city made of ghosts and dust. Irena returned to the garden. She dug up the jars. She opened them one by one with shaking hands. She began the slow, painful work of reuniting children with their true identities. But many parents were gone. Dead in camps, shot in forests, lost in the endless trenches of war. For these children, their name was all that remained of the world that once loved them. Irena gave that back to them. Not every reunion was joyful, but every name mattered. After the war, Poland fell under communist control. The new government erased stories of independent resistance. Heroes like Irena were considered dangerous. So she was silenced. For half a century, the world did not know her name. Then in 1999, a group of high school students in Kansas found a small note that mentioned her rescue of 2,500 children. They thought it must be a mistake. No one had saved more lives than that during the Holocaust. And yet, no one had heard of her. They researched. They wrote a play. And the play spread across the world. Suddenly, history remembered. Irena Sendler was still alive, old, in a wheelchair, quiet, gentle. When journalists called her a hero, she simply said, "I was not a hero. I did what needed to be done. A drowning person must be saved." She died in 2008 at 98 years old. Her legacy lives on in the thousands who survived because of her courage. She did not carry a weapon. She did not wear a uniform. She did not lead an army. She saved the world with compassion, with courage, and with a love so fierce it defied an empire. Her name was Irena Sendler. Remember it. This is Echo Stories, where history becomes human. Thanks for watching. If this story moved you, please consider liking and subscribing for more stories of forgotten heroes. See you next time.